Today is going to be a big day in the stock market. Will the NASDAQ be able to hold on to this key level that Bank of America is warning us about? And look at the fear and greed index. We are at 42. Will we be able to sway back into neutral territory today? Or is the fear and greed index going to start working its way back down towards extreme fear? We come over and look at this article right here. Liquidation of crowded trades so far is healthy, but these levels must hold, Bank of America says. And when we scroll down here real quick, let's talk about the key level that Bank of America says must hold. If you're trading the NASDAQ, the key level is 18,700. If we come over here real quick, we look at the NDX, you can see 18,700 is essentially just below the low from yesterday. And if we look at the MACD indicator, it looks extremely weak at this moment. Let's not forget today we have news, 8:30 a.m. we have the core PCE price index. Then at 10 o'clock, we have revised consumer sentiment and revised inflation expectations. So will the NASDAQ be able to hold on to this key level that Bank of America outlines, or are we going to see the NASDAQ continue to drop substantially lower from here? If we measure from high down to the recent low on the NDX, it's down roughly 9.5%. If we come over and look at the NASDAQ futures, however, when we do that same measurement from high down towards the low, the NASDAQ futures are essentially down 10% on this correction. Now, is this nothing more than a little correction in the market? And we're going to see the market starting to rally up, maybe up towards some of these high volume areas like 19,958. Now, let's talk about a bear argument that Bank of America also has to say. The bear argument, says Hartnett, is that the steeper Treasury yield curve is recessionary and the bond vigilance won't allow the Fed cut rates to work. If we come over and look at this chart right here, this shows the difference between the 10 and the 2-year. When we get back above here, then the yield curve will be uninverted. And we always know once we start seeing a steepening of the yield curve, normally that is problematic, not only for the economy, but also for the stock market. So you want to keep an eye on this level. And let's not forget, in 5 days, we have the next FOMC meeting. And if we look, there's a 93.3% chance the Fed is going to do nothing at the next meeting. However, as soon as September, we're going to see the Fed's going to start cutting rates. Now, do you guys think that Jay Powell is going to announce that they are very close to cutting rates at this next FOMC meeting? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button down below and give the video a big thumbs up. We come over and take a look at the dollar index this morning, essentially flat on the session, down a whopping 5 cents. Not a whole lot to see there. We do see it starting to pull back here just a bit. Then if we come over and look at the precious metal gold, gold has come down right into the thick part of this volume profile level. And now we're going to see, will we bounce back up or do we continue to go lower? If we make it to the edge of this volume area at about 23.27, watch out. We're probably going to go down towards in this minus development area. Then we'll see if we get a reaction. However, if we can start to bounce up and out, we can adjust our ABC pattern completion. Now, if we can take out the swing high up here, that would bring us all the way up here to about 2,535. Next, we jump over and take a look at crude oil. Crude oil today is down a whopping 24 cents at the session. And we saw yesterday, crude oil trying to catch a bid down here. We had buyers, you can see by the buying tail on the bottom of that candle. However, MACD is not firming up at this moment. We'll see if that transpires later on. Then we come over and look at NVIDIA. Yesterday, NVIDIA had a huge buying tail on the bottom of the candle, and in pre-market, we see NVIDIA is up 3% on the session. We take a look at SMCI. SMCI right now in pre-market is up 2.79%. We take a look at Microsoft in pre-market is up 0.71%. And even this Meta this morning is up 1.8%. And notice a lot of the candles from yesterday have tails on the bottom or wicks, which showing us that, buyers were willing to step up, trying to push prices back up higher. Now, is this going to be enough for a relief rally on Friday? And if we do get the relief rally, is this nothing more than just that, a relief rally, and we're ultimately going to go substantially lower? As we jump over and look at the QQQs this morning, notice we came yesterday almost down towards the 100% A to B equals C to D pattern. We almost hit it. Now we're on the way back up. In pre-market, we see the QQQs are up 1.21%. And if you look, and we got to ask yourself, are we just going to simply turn right here at this high volume area on the composite profile, or are we going to make it a little bit higher, maybe into the minus development area or even higher? Now, one thing I would want to do is we can pull two different Fibonacci retracement levels. First, we can measure all the way from the high down towards the low, And notice the 50% level would come in right near this next high volume area over here. Then we could also grab the same Fibonacci retracement and measure from the last leg down. If you look, the 50% level is right up here at about 270.29, which would put us right in the middle of that minus development area, which could be an area where we see a reaction in the market and we see the NASDAQ starting to turn a little bit lower. But nonetheless, I do think a bounce is underway, and we got to ask ourselves, if we gap up this morning, will the gap come back and get filled, or is this a gap and go situation? We look at the 4-hour chart for clues, and what do we see? MACD indicator at this moment looks extremely bearish, no signs of letting up yet. And look, you can see that huge minus development area within the composite profile, which could be a target location for the QQQs. On the 1-hour chart, we talked about this yesterday, trying to firm up a bit, and we have a double bottom-ish looking pattern. Now, if indeed this is going to be a double bottom pattern, if we can break above the swing point right up here, that gives us a price completion at about 480.29. Isn't that kind of ironic that if you look left, that would also fill the gap right over here as well? So are we going to see the NASDAQ running substantially higher today? Will the PCE price index be enough to give Jay Powell the confidence that he needs to start cutting rates out here very soon? I want to make everybody aware, Apex 7 a massive 80% sale off all their valuation accounts, passing as little as 1 day. And you can also get a 150K account for only $40. You get a 250K account for only $40. And you get a 300K account for only $40. So if you want to take advantage of this offer, use the link in the description box down below and use the promo code Mike at checkout. Then as we look at the 30-minute profiles, look at the MACD indicators starting to firm up yesterday. And we look at value area low. I told you guys this yesterday. We closed below it, which comes in at about 458.99. I said, if we're trading above it today, I want to look for higher prices. First target being the point of control. Well, you know what? Pre-market, we're already above that price point, which comes in at 461.90. Next target would be up here at value area high, which comes in at 465.42, which could still be a very valid target. But we also want to look left. We have that huge gap that was left behind from just a few days back. And then today, if we gap up higher, we got to worry about the market potentially fading back in and trying to fill the gap to the downside. Then as we come over and we look at the futures markets, last night, what do we see? Well, essentially we opened where? Below value area low. That target has already been taken out. That was one of the plays I talked about in the 5 o'clock video last night. And if you notice, we went ahead and took out the point of control as well. Now the question is, will we be able to break above the overnight value area high, working our way right back over here towards yesterday's value area high at 19,294. If we zoom this out, notice yesterday we did go lower. We came all the way down towards this point of control, but we didn't have a substantial break of this low. And what I mean by that is if you look over here where we had that D-shaped profile, and I tell you guys this all the time, D-shaped profile, I expect a trend day the following day. And that's exactly what happened on the 24th. And you can see that was a substantial break from that low. Yesterday, yes, we broke below the low, but it wasn't just a cascading waterfall effect like we saw the prior day. That also lends to the case we're likely going to get some type of bounce back up in this market. Now, keep in mind, way up here at 19,962.50 is an untested point of control. And no, I'm not looking for that level to come back and get tested today, but it is a key level that I most certainly want to focus on my chart. Now, as we come over, look at the SPY, the SPY, what do we see? Yesterday, the SPY was able to take out the 100% ABC pattern to the downside. And where do we come down to? The minus development area, which is an area I said, watch out. We are likely going to get some type of reaction at that area. And that's exactly what is transpiring right here in pre-market. We can see the SPY is actually up higher. Then yesterday, we had that shooting star type of candle, meaning we have a body on the bottom, we have the long wick on the top. Now, normally this is a bearish candle if it would have been in the placement of an uptrend, but because this is in a downtrend, this is one of the weakest of all reversal patterns, but this suggests the market is likely going to try to find some type of bounce out here. And that's what we're seeing in pre-market. Now, will we be able to get above this high volume area at 544.76, potentially working our way over to this gap that we need to come all the way up to 553.77 in order to fill? I don't know if we're going to make it there, most certainly not today. Then on the 4-hour chart, MACD indicator showing no signs of letting up. The 1-hour chart, we're starting to see that divergence play out. We have that double bottom-ish pattern. And if we go ahead and map out, if we were able to break above this swing high over here, then that would validate this double bottom pattern. That would give us a price projection all the way up here at 557.52. Now, if you look left, that would also fill the gap over here. But what do we do about the gap from today if indeed the market does gap higher? Now, we come over and look at the 30-minute chart. We can see value area low comes in at 538.73. Yesterday, we closed above it. I said, if tomorrow we are trading above that price point, I want to go ahead and see, can we go ahead and take out the point of control? Can we work our way back up towards value area high, which we're almost at right now in pre-market? Then maybe we come all the way back up here, trying to test gap resistance and potentially come all the way up here, fill in the gap. However, I don't know that we make it all the way up there today unless the market has a very favorable reaction to the news coming out today. Now, keep in mind, if we start trading above value area high, then we start coming down. We got to take our bull hat off, flip back onto the bear side and look to target right down here towards the point of control. Anything below that, we look back towards value area low and even the lows of the day. Now, I am favoring a bounce in the market, especially given that we've come down around 5% or so. If we go ahead and we grab our Fibonacci retracement level from the high down towards the low, the 50% level would come in at about 561.60. That would not be enough to fill the most recent gap. And if you want to be more conservative, you can see the 50% level actually comes in at about 547.35, which would still suggest that we have more upside testing to potentially come out here today. Now, as we come over and look at the 4-hour charts for the futures markets, notice, what do? Yesterday, they sold it off at the end of the day, this big nasty red candle. And now overnight, we've been chugga, trying to work our way back up. Now, anything to the upside, one of the key levels on the futures markets, I want to focus on this high volume area that we have right over here. That's going to be somewhere in the ballpark from about 55.29 up here to about 55.34. That would be a nice target location along with a minus development area within the volume profile as well. Then as we come over and look at the daily profiles, what do we see? All night long, just trying to grind up higher. And we can make the case that we actually have an A to B equals C to D pattern to the upside, which actually completes at 54.93. Now notice, what did we do yesterday? Very simple. I warned you guys about this in the 5 o'clock video. If we close below value area low, which we did, what do we want to do? We want to target that area. That's a high probability target. That's one of the volume profile strategies that I've shared with you guys in the past. And this, again, came right in line with what we expected. Then we break above that. We're looking for the point of control. We break above that. Then we can look to play all the way up here towards value area high. Now, we do want to pay attention to the overnight volume profile levels because you can see right now, and this is before the news, the overnight volume profile levels are in between yesterday's value area high and low. So they can give us additional entries into the market or potentially provide additional targets as we move through yesterday's volume profile areas. So as we come over and look at the news that was out at 8:30, core price index came right in line with expectation, 0.2 versus a forecast of 0.2. Previously 0.1, however, personal spending dropped to 0.2 versus previously at 0.4 and forecasted at 0.4. Personal spending month over month came in at 0.3 versus 0.3 versus previously 0.4. Now we look at the reaction in the market. The NASDAQ right now spiked up a little bit and now is on the way back lower. When we look at the overnight volume profile levels, we have value area high coming in at 19,230.00. The point of control will come in at 19,188.00. Value area low will come in at 19,093.50. So we got to ask ourselves, was that news enough to push us down, potentially coming all the way back down, fill in the gap, or is this going to be nothing more than a buying opportunity? Here's what I'm going to tell you. Where I want to be bullish is if we break value area high, or if we can break back below value area low, then potentially start coming back up. So break below this area, come back up, then we can play the rotation right back up. Point of control being target number one, value area high being the secondary target. But if we break value area low and we stay below it, then we need to go looking back down towards the opening price and even back down towards the lows of yesterday. We come over and look at the S&P 500. You can see we wicked above the overnight value area high. Now we're on the way down. 54.88 and a quarter is going to be value area high. The point of control will come in at 54.81.75. Value area low will come in at 54.63.25. Now notice for the rotation down, the S&P has already hit target number one. We want to watch this minus development area. This is the area where we can see the ES come down to and reject and start coming right back up. We can get through the other side of this minus development area, then I am looking for a rotation all the way down towards value area low. If we start trading back above value area high, I want to be on the buy side of the market. Or if we come all the way down towards value area low and we start to reject back up, that's another case where I'd want to be on the buy side of the trade. Now, if you guys want to learn how to trade volume profile using order flow, watch this video right here.